All right, so as Nicole mentioned, I run the in-house team at Canva. We do lots of amazing work all over the world now. It's actually like quite nice to just put this one slide together and be like, wow, it's like such a lovely coherent brand no matter where it shows up in the world, and I'm very proud of everything the team does. It's all them, it's not really me. But I guess I wanted to start with a really, really embarrassing story. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in New Zealand for the school holidays, and I went on a ski trip just for the day, took the kids to the mountain, and I got up to the top of the chairlift on my skis, and I got to looking down the slope, and I just completely froze and got filled with fear and totally lost my confidence. By the way, I did not look like this GIF guy does, quite the opposite. After about 10 minutes of standing at the top, I finally kind of got going down the slope, and every single turn I fell over. One lady stopped and said to me, "Do you know how to ski?" Very concerned I was at the top of the mountain. But she gave me a couple of pointers and I got going again, and then about halfway down the slope, I completely stacked it, and both of my skis came off, and someone on the chairlift actually laughed out loud at me. And then I couldn't put them back on, and this 8-year-old Japanese skier came up gracefully and stopped next to me and helped me get my skis on for me, which was a very humbling experience. But I actually do know how to ski. So I have been going skiing for about the past 5 years now. Maybe only once or twice a season, but enough to actually kind of know what I'm doing. So what actually happened there? So whenever we embark on learning a new skill, there's always this quite harrowing journey that we go through called the 4 stages of competence. So the first stage at the bottom is unconsciously unskilled. So you kind of are learning a new skill and you don't actually know what you don't know. And so that's probably been my first 5 years of skiing, just freewheeling it down the slopes with very little skill but complete naive confidence. And so then the second stage is consciously unskilled. So now you're starting to learn the skill a bit, and you actually realise that you're not very good at the skill. And so, you just realise how bad you actually are, and it's a bit of a challenging point to get through. The third stage is you get to consciously skilled. So you realise that, I'm actually can do this thing now, but it's just still taking me a bit of an effort, but I've got it, I know how to get there. And then the fourth stage is the holy grail, when we get to unconsciously unskilled, where the skill actually just lives inside you, and it's very intuitive, and you can go completely into your flow. And so I guess for me, I'm at this stage in skiing, but I also realised I'm kind of at this stage in my creative career as well, which might be kind of surprising because perhaps I should be at my peak. So being a creative director at Canva and running a really big team and having a brand all over the world, it should be a kind of moment where I am at my peak. But I think that what is true in this kind of stages of competence is that you realise that the more you learn, the more that you have to grow, and the little you actually know about some areas. So for me, I feel like I am standing at the top of this mountain, but now I can see that there's this whole other huge mountain that I have to scale and skills that I have to face. So I have really found myself in this unfamiliar territory, and I've lost my confidence. Which brings us to the theme of mentor. So I guess what I really need right now is a mentor and a trusted advisor. But I was kind of started thinking about this and wondering where I can find one and what a mentor is anyway. And so we get a history lesson, because every good talk has a history lesson. But I think that also every good thing in the world comes from Greek myth. So a mentor is both a human as a trusted friend and the divine as a voice of wisdom. And so in Greek myth, Odysseus left for war, and he left his child in the care of his friend, whose name was Mentor. And so he left his child in the care of his trusted advisor. And then later on in the story, the goddess Athena appears, and she actually appears in the form of Mentor to guide the sun. And so this is where we get both of those meanings, so both the human meaning and the divine meaning of mentor. And then in early societies, we really started to look to our elders for wisdom. So they passed down the stories and the skills and the cultural traditions, and knowledge wasn't written down, it was really, really lived in people. So young people learned by listening and watching and failing from their elders. And of course, in modern life today, we really worship independence, and perhaps we worship this at the expense of our wisdom. So many of us no longer have elders to call on, or maybe we just don't know how to ask them. And we have shifted to like books and podcasts and colleagues and peers as the people that help guide us. So I wanted to share, I guess, some of the seasons of my journey and my life through the lens of the mentors that I've had along the way. I'll just breathe for a bit. So Granddad. Granddad was a mentor for me when I was growing up, and he really believed in, he saw the kind of the promise in me as a young child. And when I was about 4 years old, I really, really wanted this pink plastic convertible Barbie car from the shops, but my parents couldn't afford it. And so this was my very first design brief. And so I designed for Granddad the car that I wanted. So like the top view, the side view, and the upside down view. I don't know how as a 4-year-old I knew there were pipes under a car, but there we go. And so he made me this beautiful, beautiful red Ferrari out of wood. So much better than the plastic one from the shops. And then, of course, my sister got jealous, and so he made her a yellow Jeep, and then I got jealous about her yellow Jeep, as you can see. And then, I guess, in the school years, we were just talking about our mentors and about our art teachers. I'm sure we all have a teacher that we remember very fondly, and it's the one that you will remember your whole life. And so I had a couple of great art teachers. Frisbee, he was called Frisbee because he was bald on top. He named himself that. He actually named me Kat. I used to be Catherine before then, and he started calling me Kat, and that's where it stuck. But he taught me this world of photography, analog photography, so aperture and f-stops and being in the dark room and developing film and print. And he really taught me this new skill, and also like pushed me to experiment with it. So I spent a lot of time in the dark room, sort of like distressing the films and the prints and everything like that. And I actually spent probably my entire university in the dark room too. So I studied graphic design, but all I did was photography, which probably explains why I wasn't the best designer when I started. So in my early career, probably the first 10 years, I got to work with Jason Little quite often, he was probably my best mentor in terms of pushing me in my craft and my ideas and my skills, and he had really, really high expectations, and he was quite scary to work with at the start, but he was pretty awesome. So he actually was directing at Landor in Paris, and he had seen potential in me as a junior designer. I was working in Sydney, and so he said, do you want to come and work in Paris? I've got like an opening for 3 months. We can't pay for your flights, we can't get you a visa. Your pay will be about half of what you're on now, which is pretty low because you're a junior designer. But the offer's there, and I was like, yes. I borrowed some money from my parents and I went. So I took a really big risk, but I think it really paid off in terms of my growth. And then we come to Canva, and so this is where I am today. And as Nicole said, I started about 7 years ago as the first brand designer. And when I started, we didn't actually have a brand, we didn't have a marketing team or a creative team. And so I asked for the guidelines, and I was handed a logo. So I really had to build this brand from scratch, and so it was a whole new kind of like challenge for me to be able to do that. But then the other thing that happened was that about 6 months in, Zach asked me to start teaching design, and I'd never actually taught design before. Like, it's something you kind of learn as a skill and you can do it intuitively, but to actually like unearth that intuition and like put it into words to teach others was a big thing for me to learn too. And so I guess there was a point about 6 months in where I was like teaching design school and also trying to build this brand, and I I think I broke down at some point. I was like, I can't do it all. It's like too much. My calendar's too full. And Zach really, really helped me at every step of the way. Whenever I felt overwhelmed, he really stepped in and helped me feel like everything that I wanted to do was actually possible. He's actually my husband now. But this kind of mentor is the one that you marry. So what do all these mentors have in common? Look, I actually asked around my team as well. I'm not going to read all of these, but there were some beautiful ones. But someone said, there's my mum. Is this you, Hannah? I feel like this is something you would say, but maybe it's not. There's my mum, the ultimate life mentor, the warm hug at the end of the day that never gives the answer, but is always there to hear how it all plays out. Just the best. So sweet. Okay, so what I see mentors all having in common is they see the potential in you that you can't see in yourself. They push you to stretch beyond your comfort zone, and they make it safe to take risks and to fail. So this all sounds really, really great, but what happens when you just don't have a mentor? Like you're on top of this mountain and there's no one else around to help you except an 8-year-old child, and you know, like you have to try and figure it out for yourself. So I wanted to talk today a little bit about this idea of the mentor within, and I think share just like 3 kind of things that I have learnt over the course of my life to date that have really helped me when no one else is around. So, you know, if we come back to the idea of the mentor being someone that sees potential in you, how do we actually gain this perspective for ourselves and like really be able to hold a mirror up to ourselves and see our own strengths and weaknesses? So one way to do that is to really actively seek out feedback. So, you know, not just waiting for it, but really, really asking for it. And it's not easy, like being open to feedback is a place where you have to go and be really vulnerable, and gets kind of awkward sometimes, but it's actually a really, really powerful act of self-mentorship to be able to be open to this. So this is my cute daughter. Okay, I just had to keep that in because it's cute. But Zach got me this present for my 40th birthday, which was basically just a video from all of my friends, and they just shared like one of their favourite moments or memories with me in the life, and also some advice for my 40s. You know, sometimes the advice you need is actually closest to home, and we just don't ask for it enough. They reminded me of lots of good things about myself, that I always grab every opportunity, that I bring out the lightness in others, and that I have a good for fun. I always cry in talks, and last time I did a talk and I started crying and someone gave me advice afterwards was squeeze your bum cheeks together and then you won't cry. I'm like, yeah, did any of you know that? I'm just testing it out right now, and it's kind of working. That's very good advice. So this is actually something that I love to do with my team as well, which is very, very awkward, but basically if you run a team, it's a really great activity to do. So you get you know, put everyone in pairs and they just face one another, and then they share with each other these 2 sentences. So one thing I appreciate about you is, and one thing that I invite you to consider is. And it's quite like a kind of like awkward moment to kind of try and like figure out what to say to someone in front of you, but it's a really good activity to do. And for you as an individual, like I love it because by the time everybody like moves down the line and you've talked to everybody, you start to gain a pattern in your own mind about the things that you can work on and the things that people see in you. So I really recommend this activity. So we're going to do it now. So can you turn to the person next to you and share one thing that you appreciate about them? And look, if you don't know them, just read their soul. Or if you don't know them, just say something that you personally would like to hear right now and maybe project that out. So I'll give you a minute. It's so heartwarming to hear how much you have to say to each other. Oh, it's so nice. I hope you all got a little of something out of that. And we'll move on to the second point now. And so I guess like we've talked about mentors who really push you beyond your comfort zone. And great mentors don't just give you praise, they really push you and they really stretch you. And so to stretch ourselves, we can start to set our own stretch goals. And we can set our sights on things that we, don't really right now feel like we're capable of, but really just push yourself that little bit further than you could. And so goals are really important because without a destination, the direction to get there is kind of impossible. I'm actually not going to let Simon Sinek talk right now and take over my show, but I don't have time. But there was actually a Creative Mornings talk from like the beginning of Creative Mornings. But what he talks about is if you give someone a goal and you say, can you go to that corner of the room and I want you to walk in a straight line. And you start walking in a straight line and then you put a chair in front of you. And you basically like climb over the chair or go around the chair and you get to the corner that he said. And you've actually disobeyed what he said because he said go in a straight line, don't go around the chair, like get to the corner. But we will do whatever it takes to get to the destination if we know where we're going. So then if you reset that and you say go in a straight line to anywhere in the room. You're like, where do you want me to go? Oh, just like you're smart, figure it out, go, walk in a straight line. And then you start walking, then he puts a chair in front of you. And then maybe you just like turn this way and go to that corner. Or maybe you turn and go to that corner. And like, so without that destination, we kind of actually don't know where we need to go. And even though we're taking the steps, we're not taking the steps in the direction that is most valuable and important to us. So at Canva, we do have this value of setting crazy big goals and making them happen. And then we also really, really try to celebrate those goals in really, really weird and wonderful ways. So one of my favourite celebrations was when we launched the Canva Pro and we released some white turtle doves from the rooftop into the sky. Or this team here, when we launched the iPhone app for Canva, they had a Steve Jobs party and all wore turtlenecks. When we launched the Colour Wiki, they had a Holy Colour Festival. So I think like it's just really important to inject some fun into your goal kind of planning and make sure you really celebrate when you hit those moments. But I wanted to share a story that I really, really love. So this is about Debbie Millman. In 2005, she did a summer class with the late design legend Milton Glaser. And he had this exercise for all of his students where he asked them to write an essay about your life 5 years from now. So envision everything that you want to be if you could do anything at all and not be afraid of fear or be afraid of failure and like just really, really think of the impossible. And so, but also be careful what you wish for because it might come true. And so Debbie wrote this like 10-page letter to herself. She put all of her biggest, wildest dreams in there. She like really took it to the next level. And then after 5 years, most of those had come true. And then after 17 years, every single one of them had come true. Milton got so many letters from all of his students saying, oh my God, everything came true in this essay that I wrote. And so when he retired, Debbie asked if she could continue that practice and in her teaching. And then she also created this, the Remarkable Laugh deck, which is basically a deck of cards that helps to prompt you in this activity. So I did this activity for my 40th. This is me in Taiwan, like so serenity. Wish I was back there, but it was a beautiful place to try and set goals and like really envision 10 years from now what I want to be doing when I'm 50, and I recommend all of you to do it. It's a really great exercise to just do where you kind of just dream up the impossible. You also don't need the cards. It's basically like set your goals for what you want to achieve in your personal life, your work life, and for your community. So mentors also make it safe to take risks and fail. And so when we look at the mentor within, I think we can really be our own harshest critics and we really need to give ourselves a break. So to be a good mentor, you would never actually beat someone up when they fail. You would like ask them, what have you learnt from this? And really all failure is actually just learning in disguise. So I guess 3 years into my role at Canva, we got to create our very first TV ad. And I'm sure those of you who are brand designers would know it's a very different skill to try and make advertising creative. But I've had to learn everything as I go, and so we produced this whole thing in-house, and I was super, super proud of it. I'm not going to play it because it's too embarrassing, but we... I don't know if I have time. Okay.
Yeah, you do.
30 seconds, I've got time. Let's play it.
Enjoy presentations with Canva.
You're too kind. Yeah, so basically I watched this at home in New Zealand on the couch with my mum. It came on the TV and we watched it, and she was like, oh, that's nice, dear. What was that about? And I failed the mum test. And this was actually a really important failure to learn from, because Canva's empowering the whole world to design, which means we need to empower everyone from 8-year-olds to 80-year-olds, including our mums. And you know, like if my mum didn't feel like she could design from watching this ad, then I had failed. And so, but it led to a really important question that we now ask with all of the ad creative we do. So we do a lot of testing and iterating. We kind of like start all of our ads in like a lo-fi form and put them into user testing like we would with our product. And we always ask people, do you feel like you could personally use Canva just by watching this ad? And that's a very big kind of like challenge to get to from just like a 30-second ad, but actually it's a really important one because it means what we've achieved is just that feeling of like accessibility and relatability, and helping people to feel empowered just by watching some creative. So we've got like, we do much better ads now. I've got a good team around me, so but it's I guess like a really important learning that we had, that some of the worst work that you have actually leads to your best questions. And I guess in terms of rejection and failure, the Canva story is definitely one of those. So Mel, our founder, she came up with this idea for Canva when she was teaching design in university in Perth, and she kind of saw how complex it was, the design process was, and so she wanted to bring it all together into this one simple platform. But when she went to get investment for it, she was sleeping on her brother's couch in San Francisco, and she was just getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rejection notes from people who probably regret that now, but she really kind of got to a really, really low point. And so at her lowest point, she wrote this letter to herself. Mel, you're extremely tired. You're in a challenging situation, though you can pull through. Nothing bad is really happening. You're just feeling depressed because you are used to achieving things quickly. It's a hard environment. There is no doubt you will succeed. You will find the team you need, and you will get the investment you need to build the company you have always wanted. It's a really sweet thing to do, and I think I'm really glad she had the resilience, because Canva has changed a lot of people's lives around the world today. So this is something I don't want you to do right now. I want to ask you to do another thing, but I think this is another activity you can do where you can kind of really close your eyes and imagine your future self, perhaps 10 years in the future when you've achieved all those goals that you set. And then write a letter from that person to you today. And, you know, what advice would they give you? It's a really sweet activity, and I think if you're actually more of a talker than a writer, you can go on a pep walk and like maybe record the message to yourself rather than writing it down, but just wear some headphones so people don't think you're crazy and they actually just think you're on a phone call to someone. So to wrap up on this, we kind of have mentors that see the potential in us, and we can find the potential in ourselves by actively seeking out feedback. Mentors really push us to stretch out of our comfort zone, and we can do that for ourselves by setting some crazy big goals. And they also make it safe to take risks, and we can do that ourselves too by really reframing the failures that we have as learnings along the way. And now I'm going to show you some work, because that's what we're all here for too. And I guess this piece of work I wanted to share because I think it is really like the craziest creative projects that leave us feeling the most rewarded. And so we're all, really familiar with that feeling of accomplishment when you actually do something you've never done before. And it's usually the most time-consuming and anxiety-inducing stuff that you have to push through to get you there. So that for our team is Canva Create, and so it's our keynote event that we have every April, and then it requires all of the skills from all of the team to come together and really stretch to achieve this big goal. So the process for getting to a Canva Create is firstly our brand team will work on the brand identity for it, and so they'll go through a round of concepts. We go through maybe 3 or 4. And then we'll take those concepts and we will refine just one and start to bring in motion testing and bring all the elements to life across it. Then we actually move into storyboarding in Canva. So we mock up the stage design. We have tiny little cutout people that we move around the stage like a diorama, and actually completely visualize the entire show in this form. And then we get into really finalising the slide designs. And I think it was version 32 that we took to the stage this year. Wow. And then when we're 2 weeks out from Canva Create, we all go to LA and get into this war room, and all the speakers rehearse and the production crew are there, and the creative team are all at the front here, all busily refining every single aspect from motion to design. And then the day before, we all go to the actual venue and have a look at it, and it feels pretty amazing. And what I did this year was I actually spent a lot of time in this broadcast truck, which is an amazing truck. It's like all those screens, and there's this incredible broadcast director who sits at the center of everything, and she's like a conductor, and she's like on her headphone to the camera guys, and she's like, camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and she's like conducting them all into the screen that the people on the broadcast see. And this is very important because there's 2.6 million people watching this thing live from all around the world, and the people in the venue who get the best version of it, there's 4,000 of them. So we have to make sure that we're considering both aspects. And I just wanted to talk about the finale song a little bit. So the goal of this year's Canva Create was to really grant as many community wishes as possible. So people write to Canva and they ask for features, and we try to bring as much of those features to life. And so we started with this artist demo from an amazing guy called Tom McGovern, and so he brought it to life. He took lots of community comments and then made a song with those community comments. And then we create another prototype in Canva. Like we literally, this is in Canva video, and we've got tiny people moving. So we basically build out the entire show as another diorama in Canva as well. I'll just wait till the confetti comes because it's amazing. Oh, good. So then we go into choreography, and we have all the dancers bringing everything to life. And then kudos to Bo, who's actually sitting here. He spent 3 entire days in Canva Video putting together the background video for this, which is the most complex video project Canva has ever seen in its life. But we didn't have any resource left of editors or videographers because they were all busy on all the rest of the content. And then we also were launching kerning, and so of course we had the fairy fond mother as Jessica Hish there to launch the kerning feature. But then there was dress rehearsal, and so dress rehearsal happened like 8:21 p.m. and we were going live the next morning at 10 a.m. and I sat in the broadcast truck and it looked like this, and I was like, oh, like, it's pretty cringy. Like, what the audience is saying is like, this is not what we envisioned it being. Like, you really have to see the full context of the show, and you have to see the words of the community to understand that that's actually what the singer is talking to, and all we can see is this like horrible Top of the Pops, people in pink kind of thing, and it was like, oh god, people cannot see this, the internet will go crazy. And so then at about midnight, I went home and I like basically boarded out the cameras for the camera director, and I was like, you need to be wide here, mid-shot here, and I did the whole entire song, boarded out to give them really clear directions on the perspective that the people at home needed to be looking at this thing from, so they really got the full picture.
Hi, I'd like to add a widget to my website. Help me come up with ideas for content. I want to create a lot of designs. I love everything, nothing is bad. Add an easier way to make graphs. Add a function that is like spreadsheets love. Brainstorm design ideas would be totally skibbity if it just erased the part of the elements you hovered over. Different page sizes in one file. We granted every single one of those wishes, every one. And you know what would be wild?
What?
If we spent the next 3 minutes granting 45 more wishes. I'm actually not kidding, here we go. Better tools for making diagrams are needed. We need better stock photos and videos and graphics. It would be cool to add highlighting to docs. Add karaoke like text. I would love an easier way to send assignments to the students. Video editing, managing audio levels. Hello, please add the where to get. Hello, please add the widgets. Add more animations. I know I could use some more slide transitions. Hello, please add the where to get. Hello, please add the widgets. You need an option to resize images or designs in bulk. Instead on one by one, it's such a tedious process. For something pretty simple shouldn't take so long. Make many designs at once, add subscript and superscript. I'm trying to create a donut chart in our brand colors. Issue 1, when I apply brand colors, it chooses other colors instead, like navy and turquoise, which are not in my brand palette. Issue 2, I can't edit the colors in the donut chart. This is taking hours, and I'm thinking of switching to another program because the editing capabilities are a nightmare. And yes, I have a pro account. I love Canva, makes everything so easier. Hello, please add the etiquettes. Hello, please add the widgets. Text-to-speech AI. I would love an easier way to add text speech to AI. Please add the etiquettes. Hello, please add the widgets. Well, this is taking much longer than I thought it would, and we only have a minute and a half. Oh, no! So I'm gonna have some people grant some wishes like a roll call, because that can happen fast. Do it! Connection!
Go directly on slide.
Interactive animation!
Mr. Canvas, send a photo.
Data aggregation!
Multi site.
Video adjustment!
President Bell. President Bell. Record a voiceover.
Bands on our pages!
Pay specifically. Record yourself on mobile. New ways to print. Have your voice.
Okay, guys, still taking too long. I'm just gonna read a bunch in a row while the choir sings. Here we go. More inclusive content, more fonts, bulk printing, video background remover, precision tools for whiteboards, more media in the library, on-click animations, linear video timeline, moment-in-time editing, marquee selection, photo objects, effortless element timing, replace multimedia in a social template at once.
Design school's moving up to 2.0, and you can use Magic Write in your speaker notes. Turn your slides into quizzes, draw presentations, auto-level audio, no more complications. And they have assistants to give you suggested designs. If you keep making magic, we'll keep saving you time.
Artist extraordinaire and StudioWorks co-founder, what are you doing here?
I'm here to grant the wish of curling to everyone.
Wow! Thank you for all that you make. This is the reason we have Canva Create. Thank you. Granting your wishes is the least we could do. If you keep on creating, we'll keep getting better for you.
The things we do for fun. So I guess I just wanted to wrap up this talk with you all by saying that even the process of putting this talk together and like really reflecting on the things that I have done and will continue to do, that learning is actually just this continual journey, and actually we're always at all steps of this, the kind of 4 steps, and it's actually probably more of a circular thing than a single ladder as well. But I hope you all got a little bit of something out of this that you can take away, and also I still need a mentor if anyone knows anyone. It was so good, amazing.